Hey everyone, Kim Levinsky here for the next vlog of the Tahoe 200 journey. Today is Monday, July 5th, and if you're like me, I don't know where the month of June went. It went by so fast. It's crazy that it's already July. So I am 2 weeks behind in this vlog update, so I need to fill you in on what happened over the last 2 weeks. So going back to June 21st through the 27th, turned out to be a down week for me with training mileage-wise. We had our big Sasquatch event this past weekend, the 27th, and so didn't get as many miles as I was hoping to get, but I think ultimately it was a good thing because the weeks leading up to it have definitely been pushing the training a bit, so I think it was good for my body to just chill a little bit with the mileage. Friday to Sunday was the big race weekend, so like I mentioned in the last vlog, it was the midnight Squatchapalooza, and it was just as wild as the name sounds. The race started at midnight on Sunday and ended at 12 p.m. on Sunday. So I talked a little bit about the sleep strategy for that race and ended up taking a short nap. So I stayed up until around 7 a.m. that Sunday morning, and then it got to the point where I was like, ugh, I don't know, I'm getting a little brain fog here, you know, making decisions and everything. So I went to the bed of my pickup truck and I just put down a yoga mat and set my alarm for 30 minutes. And I went into a really deep sleep and woke up suddenly, and I didn't know where I was. I thought the whole race had ended and everything was over, and I had only been asleep for about 10 or 15 minutes. So I turned back over and went back to sleep for another 15 minutes, woke up, and it was like a reset for my brain. I was so impressed and surprised with the power of the power nap. So I'm really, crossing my fingers it'll have that same effect at Tahoe, to take some short naps here and there. But that was great. It worked out really well. The race went fantastic. So much positive feedback from our runners and hikers. There were over 150 people that came out from all over, a bunch of different states, all different runners and hikers, different paces, ages. We had a 81-year-old man who had completed his 25th marathon of the year, just of 2021, 81 years old. And I just love hearing feedback from runners. We had so many that came up to me afterwards and said, like, this was my first trail race, it was a positive experience, or I ran the farthest I've ever run in my life at this race. And as a race director, like, that just makes me so happy, and to me that's more important than whatever. I think that's like the most important thing is the runner's experience and them having a great time. So anyway, that was really, really good. So needless to say, I was a little bit trash after the weekend, not sleeping that much. So I caught up on sleep on that Sunday night. I slept for like 12 hours into Monday morning, which was great. Yeah, so that brings us to this past week, which that wrapped up the month of June, which is crazy. So here's some stats for you. I'm not really big on numbers. That's not something that I'm fixated on. Like, if you were to ask what's your average weekly mileage, I couldn't tell you without looking at Strava. The training, the experience, the journey, that's more important to me, but I know some people want to know numbers, and if that could be helpful for you with your Tahoe journey or whatever you're doing, then I'm happy to share. So June wrapped up with 238 miles, and for climbing, 43,600 feet in the month of June. So that brings us now to this past week. So this past week finished up with 73 miles and 15,000 feet of climbing. So it was definitely a bigger week. Lots of really fun things happened. I'll say that this past week was really just type 2 fun. That's what I'll say. Not a lot of fun in the moment for training, but looking back on it, for sure, we can just slap the label of type 2 fun on basically all of the training this past week. So, like I said, caught up on sleep after the weekend. Monday was just a day of cross training. And then we entered into another heat wave here in New Jersey. We had temperatures this past week with the heat index went up to 105. So that's really warm for New Jersey. And the thing with New Jersey is we have the humidity. So that's what makes that heat index so high. So when I looked at the weather forecast, I knew, like, I am not running in the middle of the day for these hot days. So I decided I was logically just going to get up at 3 in the morning and run at 4. So that's what I did. But still, the temperatures were really, really warm. It was starting at around 90 degrees 90, 95, and then when I finished, it was almost 100 to 105 basically with the heat index. So it was very, very warm. So I did that on Tuesday, got in about 3 hours on the trails, and then Wednesday doubled that to get about 6 hours for those 2 long back-to-backs. Again, not really that fun, but it was definitely some type 2 fun. So Thursday took off completely from running. It was a complete rest day on Thursday just to recover from the heat. And Friday got in some cross training, did a very short road workout before getting on the road for a road trip up to New Hampshire. So that's what happened this past weekend. Went up to New Hampshire. The original plan was to go to the White Mountains to do the Presidential Traverse, which is about, depending on your GPS, 18 miles with about 8,000 or so feet of climbing. But the weather forecast was really lousy, and so my friend and I decided, let's bail on the Whites and we'll do something at lower elevation. So I went onto the FKT site, fastest known time, and found a route called the Squam Range. And we ended up doing that on Saturday. So the Squam Range, you know, it's hard to put into words what Saturday was. If you've been following this vlog, you'll remember a few weeks ago that I made some statements about how the run that I did at the ski slope, which was, it was about a marathon with 10,000 feet of climbing, that was like the hardest day. I've never experienced worse trail conditions. I never would experience worse. And now I'm finding that I'm eating my words because Saturday was worse. Saturday was worse. Again, all type 2 fun. The Squam Range, the stats, you know, it varies again with the GPS in the mountains, but it's supposed to be about 22 miles with 7,000 feet of climbing. My route that I took was 25 miles with 9,000 feet of climbing. It was pouring the rain the entire day. Like I've said before, I am officially a rain magnet, I think. So if you're experiencing a drought somewhere in the country, just call me and we can go for a long run. It's probably going to downpour. So it rained for 10 hours. The 10 hours that I was out there, it just poured the rain. My friend Laura, who's coming to Tahoe with me, we started together, but she wasn't feeling well. She had some nasty cold. So she turned around after a few miles, so I ended up doing it solo. And it was really, it was tough. What made it hard was in New Hampshire, if you're familiar with the Northeast, it's very, very technical trails. And with that pouring rain, it just made pretty sketchy conditions. So I would say, like, overall, it was definitely kind of a higher risk level than I was looking for that weekend because of the weather. Like, it just made the technical trails really, really slick. So I was slipping, sliding, fell a couple times. But ultimately, it was definitely great training. I mean, man, time on feet and getting that mental toughness with just being wet and cold for 10 hours on mountains and climbing 9,000 feet. So I got some clips here that I hope you can enjoy and laugh with me as you're watching them. Man, I'm telling you, if it rains in Tahoe, gonna be ready. It's just coming down. But check out the views, huh? Look at those views. Views for days here in New Hampshire. This is nuts. It's crazy. Well, at least it's not freezing cold, right? It's probably about like 60 or so. Bit of a driving rain. But it's all good, right? All good training? All good training? Just gonna take in the views here for another minute. Good times. Honestly, the risk level is slightly higher than I was looking for this weekend because of the weather. The description for this trail on the back half was very accurate. Technical, rugged, scrambles. So it's just a little sketchy in this pouring rain. So this was a section where coming down, I was like, oh boy, this will be better going up. But now I'm not sure looking at it going up. It's crazy, New Hampshire, you're crazy. And these aren't even, you know, the 4,000 footers. This is very Reminds me of the Catskills in New York. But it's definitely a lot of type 2 fun happening right now. Yeah, this rain is just, it's driving rain. It's not, you know, I don't mind being wet. It's just the rocks are slick, you know, so the miles like 5 to the end, six or so to the end here, 12. It was a lot of slipping and sliding on those rocks, but and I'm sure the views would be beautiful if it was clear, but there's no views, but that's all right. So I'm gonna make my way back and hope for the best. So going up that bad boy. So after Saturday, I knew I wanted to get back out on Sunday morning, but those were really the only local trails that I knew of where we were staying, and I knew it wasn't a good decision to go back because, again, it was raining on Sunday. And then with tired legs, I was just feeling a little bit apprehensive being out on those technical trails again with the rain. So ended up doing road for about 2 hours around that little town that we were at. Very, very mellow roads, and it was actually a great recovery. I felt like I really loosened up the tight legs after that long day on Saturday. All right, so that is my recap for the last 2 weeks. I hope you enjoyed it. I am also going to share a second vlog here just in a few moments that will cover nutrition and hydration, so I can dive a little bit deeper into that without making all these videos really crazy long. So thank you for following along. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will catch you on the next update.